Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to CCRL Pro Tier. Tonight they are taking on the 5.807 kilometer, which is 3.608 miles. It's got 18 corners, and one DRS zone. It is the Suzuka circuit, also known as the Japanese Grand Prix. I am Johnny Damon. I am your commentator tonight, and we will jump into the point standings. After last week at Imola, we still got LB the GOAT leading the points with 236, Silos in second with 176, Natural in third with 171, Comacopa in fourth with 160, 139 for De Boonster in fifth, Raptor in sixth with 127, Osmanian and Devil seventh with 121, Mr. Miller eighth with 121 as well. Ninth is Peak Hour with 115. Tyler in 10th with 73, and that will round out your top 10 in the points. Let's pull up the telemetry, lap data, and track map here. Jump on the furthest car out front. That is going to be the Haas of Osmanian Devil with an Aston Martin right behind him. And that appears to be Matthew 10. In regards to the constructors' standings, we do have Red Bull at the top with 267 points, Ferrari in second with 260, third Mercedes with 244, Sauber with 239, 233 for the Williams. McLaren in sixth with 149, 145 for Haas in seventh, Alpine 140 in eighth. 71 for the Aston Martin, and 10th at 15 points for the Racing Bulls. So as we make our way off the exit of turn 18, the DRS wide open, Osmanian Devil is going to head down into turn 1. They also call it the first turn, which is all the way through turn 2, and then into the S-curves we go. It's going to be turn 3 all the way up into turn 7, as he's making his way off the exit of 6, now into Dunlop curve of turn 7, up the hill and towards the Degner curve of turn 8, which is this really fast right-hander. Easy to invalidate off the exit, really nice through turn 9, gonna make his way back in towards the hairpin here of turn 11, back on the throttle. And now making his way, heading through towards Spoon Curve. That's going to carry him into 13 and 14. Easy to invalidate as well. Ride on board with him off the exit of Spoon, not using any of the exit curb. And now heading towards 130R here of turn 15. And 112.7 through 2 sectors, 22% battery left, in towards the Casio Triangle we go. And now off the exit of turn 18, making his way towards the line. He's going to be running about a 129.5, so that is the benchmark here in the qualifying session. We got who's next coming across, that is LB the GOAT with a 29.3. So nice benchmark there, 129.3 to start qualifying. On board with Comacopa, making his way through 130R now, and towards the Casio Triangle, over the curve of the entrance of turn 16, and off the exit of Casio we go, burning the remainder amount of battery into the 131.276. I'm assuming must have made a big mistake there. James and Goose now making his way off a Casio Triangle. And Peak Hour up into that P3 position. But here comes James and Goose into P5. De Boonster invalidated. On board with Natural through 130R. Pretty close here in the for that P2 fight in the point standings. About a 5-point difference. And off the exit of Casio Triangle, he goes across the line and puts himself inside the top 5. Rocket Man there up into P2. He's about a 10th and a half off the back of LB the GOAT. So a good qualifying run for him so far. The Boonster taking the exit road through Casio Triangle, and now on board with Silos here, making his way through first turn into the S-curves, bong it down into the 133 flats. The Mercedes was kind of in the way there. On board with Silos up through Dunlop curve, heading towards Degner curve, burning that battery in towards turn 8. And over the curb we go. Nice run through turn 9. Not really burning much, heading up towards the hairpin here of turn 11. Still about 3/4 of a full battery here. He is going to burn a lot now coming through, heading towards spoon curve here of turn 13 and 14. And off the exit of spoon we go. Down this long back stretch heading towards 130R. Got about 10% battery left. Purple sector 2 with a 113.3. I know that is not the fastest through 2 sector split so far. Did make a mistake off the exit of the hairpin as he got a little bit of oversteer snap. But he is going to come across the line and put himself into that P6 position with a 130.377. Mr. Miller here unfortunately invalidated on his lap. Jump on board with Modern Thai, who is dealing with a little bit of an injury, but he is currently sitting P2 now in front of Rocket Man. Osmanian Devil making his way through Casio Triangle for his second run here of qualifying. To the pit lane he goes. And now we're on board with Natural as he's running another lap of qualifying into the S-curves. We are midway through turn 5. Now 6 and heading toward Dunlop curve of turn 7. Up the hill on the really big left-hander. So easy to lose that car as he's now making his way into Degner curve, over the inside curve, down into 4th gear. He's got a purple sector 1, but he must have lost some time there on the exit of turn 9. Through turn 11 we go. GC Adventure just joined the lobby. Off the exit of the hairpin, and I believe, I'm trying to remember what corner that is. I believe that's like 120R or something like that. Let me look it up. Japanese corner 12. Oh, it's 200R. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's 200R. And now off of Casio Triangle. And across the line he goes. He gains a 1/10 of a second there. So in P5 still no changes there. Peak hour unfortunately is not on a lap. The Boonster currently making a run here. Through Degnar we go. And now into, look like turn 9. Up the hill towards the hairpin of turn 11. Off the exit. And now he's going to run through 200R heading towards Spoon curve. Let's see how he runs through Spoon. He is low on some fuel, so hopefully he can have enough here to complete this lap. His teammate though, 112.3 through sector 2 split into Casio Triangle we are. Over the inside curve of 15 and 17. Off the exit of 18, tucks it to the inside wall. Opens up the DRS and into P2 he goes. The Boonster now into Casio Triangle. Off the exit he goes. He's getting a little bit of a tow, not much, but he is going to come across the line now. And the Boonster takes your new pole with a 129.2. So a lovely lap from him. Pretty close qualifying all the way down into P7 with only a 4/10 of a gap separating them. Komakopa currently making his way through the snake curve now. And he is gonna head in towards Dunlop and up the hill. Okay, has joined the session as well. So we got 2 additional drivers on the grid. That is gonna put us at 16. And we're making our way nearly 3/4 of a second up for Comacopa, making his way through turn 10 into the hairpin of 11. Heavy on the brakes, down into third gear. Nice run off the exit, using all the grip he can through 200R. And got spoon curve right in front of us. He does have a Ferrari in front of him. Don't think it might cause much of a distraction, and not sure exactly where that Ferrari parked that car, but it could have been in a pretty bad spot, as Comacopa is going to currently make his run down the back stretch. He's a full second up on his time. That will put him into the 131 second here. Looking inside the top 10. Through Casio Triangle, is he going to get himself a good exit off the exit of the triangle, heading across the line. And he gains 9/10 of a second into that P10 position. Not what he wanted. He was probably looking for a little bit further of a development up the grid. Modern Thai, he is currently up a second and a half on sector, or through sector 2. The Boomster is unfortunately in the inside wall there. And here comes Modern Thai through 130R. Now into Casio Triangle we go. Off the exit of turn 18, making a run towards the inside wall and the line, and he is going to put himself into P2. And he misses it by 1/10 of a second to Rocket Man, who gets down into the 128 for the Racing Bulls. Osmanian Devils, a 1/4 of a second up on his time, so he's looking to potentially jump into contention for pole here as he's making his way, or actually through sector 1 split now. He's not up on his time, he's actually down on his time by a full second there, so not a good lap so far for Osmanian Devil. Comacopa regenerating, Raptor regenerating, and it looks like Barnett's going to be regenerating as well. GC Adventure and LK have joined the grid tonight. So we are up to 16 drivers on the grid here. As we are currently making our way through Spoon Curve with Modern Thai. He's still running another lap. Is he going to be up? I don't think he will be. No, he's going to be down on his time there into 130R. Manian Devil dives into pit lane. I'll be the GOAT running through the snake section of Dunlop and now heading towards Degner Curve we go. Through sector 1 split, he's about 2/10 up on his time into turn 9. Going to carry as much speed off the exit. Gives a little bit of an oversteer snap there on the curb and into turn 11, the hairpin. And through 130R into Casio Triangle, LB the GOAT goes. Is he going to be able to put himself up in contention for the pole as he comes off the edge of the Casio Triangle across the line? And your new pole sitter provisionally is going to be LB the GOAT with a 128.776. So a nice lap from him. Natural making his way through the snake section. And he is heading towards Dunlop Curve through the anti-bank corner of turn 6. And now up Dunlop we go. He's going to have about sector 1 split here coming up in roughly 200 meters across. He's got about 1/10 of a gain here on his time. That's not enough to really jump him up inside the top 6. So he's got to find some more time as he goes into the hairpin off the exit through 200R. Now he's going to head towards Spoon Curve, which is going to be turn 13 and 14. Off the edge of the spoon we go. He's going to try and keep it within the limits. Yes, he does. Uses all of the exit curb, though. Down the back stretch, he's got about 18% battery left across Sector 2 split. Has he found more time? 2/10 up on his time. Still not enough to look at putting him inside the top 6. Going to get into the braking zone of Casio Triangle. Down into third gear. Off the exit we come of turn 18. Going to keep it tucked to the inside wall. Opens up that DRS flap. He gains a 1/10.5. Not enough to gain any position on the grid. That'll be the GOAT here, diving into pit lane with 2 minutes left to go in qualifying. Rocket Man getting ready to start up his final lap of qualifying. Modern Tie as well. Osmanian Devil on his final flyer here. Into the first turn we go. Off the exit of turn 2. He's got the snake section right in front of him. Beginning turn 3 all the way to 7. As we're making our way through turn 5. Now the anti-bank corner of 6. And down the hill into Dunlop curve. Up through turn 7. Gonna hit the outside curb. Keep that car across the track. Opens up 2/10 on sector 1. Now into turn 9. He's got traffic in front of him. Traffic gonna pull to the inside of the circuit. Through turn 10 into the hairpin of 11. Down into third gear. The Haas off the exit of 11. Really nice control. 50% battery through 200R. We're down to 40% remaining, heading towards Spoon. And he's going to get through Spoon within the track limits here. A little bit of the exit curb there. Nice and smooth all the way through the exit of 14. Down the back stretch, he's going to burn that ERS heading towards the Sector 2 split. He's only a 1/2 up on his time. Through 130R into Casio Triangle. Heavy on the brakes all the way down into third gear. On the power really early off the exit of 17. Now through 18 and across the finish line we go. He gains into that P4. Modern Tie is still waiting on him. Rocket Man gets a little oversteer there in Sector 1. Modern Tie, he's a 1/10.5 up on his time. Contending for pole potentially. Osmanian Devil, he was not able to really jump too far up the grid. Mr. Miller is going to be down on his time. Natural down on his time. Silos on an outlap here. Comacopa 2/10 up on his time through the backstretch. 2 1/4 now. Making a run towards the Casio Triangle. James and Goose invalidated. Comacopa now through turn 18. The final corner on the circuit. Going to open up that DRS, tucks it to the inside, and Comacopa is going to come across inside the top 10 with a 130.0. Bong is making his way through sector 1, just beginning his lap. LK looks like he's beginning his lap as well. Rocket Man, he's nearly a 1/10 up on his time. He's got a lot of traffic in front of him here. He's going to make his way through the Alpine. He's got a Ferrari in front of him. Modern Tie, provisional pole with a 128.7. He is taking it away from LB the GOAT. Is Rocket Man going to jump up to the pole? Rocket Man with a 128.709. And we had a tie for the pole between Modern Tie and Rocket Man. But since the Mercedes set the time first, he is going to take your pole here at the Japanese Grand Prix at the Suzuka circuit. Bong it here, still on a lap through sector 2. He's nearly a full second up on his time. He's looking to gain a huge chunk of positions here if he can keep it all under control. Into Casio, and unfortunately Bong it with a huge mistake through Casio Triangle. He's now going to come across the finish line, and he gains somehow. But unfortunately for Bong it, he lost a lot of time with that big mistake into Casio Triangle. Okay, here he's still working towards the start-finish line, and he's going to be P14. And here you have it, getting ready to load in for the Japanese Grand Prix here. Alright, folks, we are getting the countdown. We are getting the countdown here for the qualifying session, or for the Grand Prix here. It's going to be about 28 laps if I remember correctly. We do have a dry Grand Prix in store for you all. And here we are, we got 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. All 5 lights are lit up and they are out and away we go. Gonna jump on board and it looks like your top 3 gets a great jump, but LB the GOAT with a better jump getting a tow from the Mercedes in front of him, and it looks like everybody's gonna get through the first turn smoothly. And there goes a Ferrari. Mr. Miller goes off into the grass. Not exactly sure if there was contact there or not, as we're making our way through the anti-bank corner of turn 6 and now up Dunlop curve. And it looks like Modern Tide's gotten out to a great jump, 0.8 of a second through Sector 1. As he's now going to carry his speed through turn 9. Off the exit we go. Haas gets a little wide there into the gravel. That is going to be Osmanian Devil. And we make our way up into turn 11. The hairpin, Osmanian Devil for a lunge, goes a little deep, but he was able to clear Komakopa in front of him. He's now up into that P6 position as we make our way through 200R, and Bong It has fallen through the grid all the way down to P16. Off the exit of Spoon Curve, and it looks like LB the Goat's going to be under an enormous amount of pressure from DeBoonster here. DeBoonster's going to break out of that toe as we head towards 130R. Nobody's looking to make a move yet, as now we got Casio Triangle right in front. Single file through Casio Triangle off the exit. DRS is going to be activated, but nobody will get the DRS flap opened here, as Modern Tie is going to lead lap 1 all the way down to P8 in this DRS train. Into the first turn we go. Still the leading Mercedes with the Racing Bulls right behind him. Then we got the Red Bull, the Ferrari, and the Sauber, the Haas, the Williams, Mercedes, Alpine, and McLaren. Round out your top 10 with a Sauber, Ferrari, Alpine, Haas, Aston Martin, and Williams will be the end of your grid here. Bonga is in pit lane, potentially looking for a new wing change there. And Modern Tie is going to be under a lot of pressure as Rocket Man goes a little wide there off the exit of 9 as we carry our speed into the hairpin. Is Osmanian Devil looking for a move on Silos. He goes a little wide off the exit through 200R. 1.8 seconds back to the Boonster. In P4 is Silos in the Sauber as we're now carrying through Spoon of turn 13 and 14. Off the exit, heading down the back stretch. Got a 4-car train here with the DRS being activated this time. They're going to get that rear wing flap to open up down the start-finish straight as they make their way in towards turn 1. But for the meantime, we're going to pull up the tires here all the way down to peak hour is all on mediums, then peak hour on a set of hards. LB the Goat goes a little deep into Casio, has to cut the exit, and now we got a 3-car race. Down in towards the first turn, LB the Goat to the inside of Rocket Man, and he is going to take over that P2 position. Further down the grid, here comes Komakopa looking down to the inside of Silos, but he wisely chooses to back out and continue to follow behind. Mr. Miller MP11 on a set of hard tires with Matthew on hards and Bonget on hards as well. Jumping back up towards the front of the order here as we're making our way through Dunlop. Still the 4 cars, all single file. Osmanian Devil trying to break off the back of Silos, but he's also trying to close up that gap to the Boonster. It was about 1.8, is down to 1.6. So he has gained roughly 2/10 into the hairpin we go. Osmanian Devil is back on the power, and he lost quite a bit of time there. And we're going to jump up towards the front here because Spoon Curve is where a lot of challenges come through. And there goes your Mercedes and your Red Bull both off the circuit there through Spoon. They're probably going to get a track limit strike, as now we're going to carry down the back stretch through Sector 2 split. And we still got the 4-car horse in front with another 4 to 5 cars right behind them in the Casio Triangle. LB the Goat looking to burn some battery here, potentially off the exit of 18. He is going to get the DRS flap. He's really close to the back of the Mercedes in front of him. Modern Tie goes defensive. The Red Bull goes around the outside. The Racing Bulls right behind him is under attack from DeBoonster, as DeBoonster's going to take over that P3 position. Following behind, everybody else stays in the order. Raptor is going to get by peak hour, and then from there LK is putting the pressure on that Adventure, and he's going to go through. Here comes Matthew through the inside as well, and GC Adventure is going to lose 2 spots, but Matthew, he makes a big mistake there in the first turn, and down into P15 he goes once again. Modern Tie now under a lot of pressure from the Boonster behind. As we're carrying up into the hairpin we go. Down into the braking zone. and it looked like DeBoonster got into the back of the Mercedes in front of him. But now they're going to continue on their way through 200R. Osmanian Devil 2 seconds back, not really gaining on these guys in front of them. 8/10 of Silos behind them as we're going through Spoon Curve off the exit and heading down the backstretch. Through 2 sectors here, we got a 4-car train on lap 4, and then another one right behind him as Osmanian Devil's trying to break that toe. And into Casio Triangle we go. Modern Tie still fighting in that P2 position. He's about 8/10 off the back of LB the Goat. This is not going to help him here. Might help him defend off the Ferrari behind, and yes it does, down into the first turn. Silos looking to close up that gap to the back of the Haas in front of him, and he is going to continue to follow behind. And now we're going to go into the snake section. Rocket Man here starting to fall off a pace. Only 5 laps in on those medium tires. He's second off the back of this train. And now Osmanian Devil's going to be looking to chase him down as he has no DRS to the cars in front. The Mercedes still trying to hang on to that Red Bull in front of him. The Ferrari's putting a lot of pressure with the Racing Bulls. 1.5 seconds back off the exit of the hairpin, and it looked like the Ferrari got a much better jump than the Mercedes in front. As now we're through 200R, heading towards Spoon Curve once again, and into Spoon we are. And it looks like the Ferrari might get a strike for that one there, going a little wide. And Bongett is unfortunately going to retire from the session in pit lane. And that will be the end of the Williams night for him. Comacopa in that P7, so still looking at a good, decent points for them, but they've got to get a few more positions from Comacopa if they want to continue to jump up the grid here. Modern Tie under an enormous amount of pressure. Here comes the Ferrari using that DRS. And the Ferrari's going to challenge down to the inside, not going to complete the move. The Sauber's behind, and oh, what happened there? And wow, some confusion got caused. And oh no, that is not good, as I am not exactly sure what caused that confusion. Might have been the ghost car that retired on circuit. And yeah, I think it might have put a little bit of an issue on the Sauber of Silos. He's going to drop down into P8. And the Boonster here, Modern Tie. Into the hairpin we go, off the exit, and almost a 1 second gap is separating the two. Through 200 or 130R into Casio Triangle, the Ferrari is beginning to put the pressure on your race leader of LB the Goat, the Boonster. He's had a few showings this season where he's ran really well up in the front, but the mistakes has cost him throughout the season, and now he's going to be putting the pressure on the Red Bull into the first turn, and it doesn't look like Ferrari's going to be able to overtake. Natural's going to overtake Osmanian Devil. And Comacopa is trying to catch up to the back of this here. Silo's still 3.6 seconds back. No damage on any of the cars that spun out there. De Boonster makes a mistake up Dunlop, and he's going to go down into that P4 position. A lot of work has been lost there when he was challenging LB the Goat. Now he's got to put the pressure back on and work his way back up, as now he's down into that P4. We just mentioned not too long ago, De Boonster struggles throughout the season with these small mistakes. It dropped him down into P4 after putting a little bit of pressure on your race leader. And so now De Boonster's got 2 cars to pass and 3 seconds to gain. Osmanian Devil has lost touch to the Mercedes in front of him. Comacopa is now all over that rear diffuser as they make their way through Spoon. Down the backstretch towards 130R. Silos seems to struggle. He's fallen out of pace. Down to 4.3 seconds. Raptors now putting some pressure on. He's down to 2 seconds off the back of them. And who was that? That was Modern Tie. Did he just make a mistake getting on the power, or was there contact? Because now he's dropped through the grid down to P7. Or could it have been the injury he's dealing with is compromising his Grand Prix race right now? He's down to 7th. And here comes Silos. He's 1.6 seconds off the back of him. Still a lot of time left in the Grand Prix. About 20 laps to go. As now Osmanian Devil is trying to gain and put pressure back on Natural. Again, DeBoonster has made it back into P4. And now he's going to be going after Rocket Man. Or DeBoonster back into P3. Rocket Man with a 3 second. And Rocket Man loses the car through turn 9 off into the gravel. And he's going to drop through the grid. Down into P6 is Rocket Man. 3 second penalty and losing positions off turn 9 into the gravel goes Rocket Man. So now we're getting a 3-car train all forming once again with a bunch of mistakes being made. DeBoonster 3.2 seconds off of LB to go. He's got quite a bit of work to do. He was less than a second about a lap and a half ago. Made a mistake through Dunlop, dropped down to P4, and everybody is dropping like flies, making mistakes here. In Japan, we're going to be rolling out the first round of pit stops here in about another 4 to 5 laps or so, as we're carrying ourselves through Casio Triangle to begin lap 9 out of 27. Osmanian Devil has the DRS to Natural in front. He's going to get the toe down to the inside, into the first turn, side by side between the Haas and the Mercedes. Clean racing off the exit. A little tight between the two cars. You could probably not even put a piece of paper to separate those two wheels. As they're carrying through the anti-bank corner of turn 6. And now into Dunlop curve. Up the hill through turn 7 and heading towards Degner curve we go. Into Degner, now turn 9, off the exit, heading towards turn 10. We got the hairpin of 11. DeBoonster's 3.6 seconds, okay, with a 3 second time penalty. 9 laps in and the pens are starting to roll through. It really is a matter of who's got pens and who doesn't. The Mercedes has DRS to Osmanian Devil, but they are working their way through 200R into Spoon of turn 13. Off the exit, DeBoonster 3.5 seconds back. Osmanian Devil 4 seconds back from DeBoonster. He's got 2 cars right behind him. Rocket Man trying to close up the gap. He's 1.2 seconds back. And then Modern Tide 1.3 right behind him. Through 130R into Casio Triangle. And the Haas is going to be under an enormous amount of pressure here from Natural in that P4 position. It's going to be a fight for the podium. DRS flap wide open. Here comes the Mercedes of the Natural down to the inside. Going to jump through the inside, burns a little bit of battery, cleared of the Haas into the first turn, and now he's up into that P3 position. If they can work together and potentially find a way, they can gain 4 seconds on the Ferrari in front of him. But the Ferrari is not gaining anything on LB the GOAT. He is actually losing time. Modern Tie is less than a second now off the back of the Racing Bulls for that P6 position. So Rocket Man down 1.7 seconds. He's losing pace to the Williams in front of him. And now Modern Tie in that hairpin off the exit of 11. Osmanian Devil is coming through. He's still got the DRS to the Mercedes in front, so this might be another opportunity for him to fight for position. They've lost a full second to DeBoonster here. I'm not exactly sure if Natural might have made a mistake, but through 130R we go. And Osmanian Devil, the 10th and a half back, all over that rear diffuser. He's going to slot back, break early into Casio Triangle. 3.5 tenths off the back, 4.5 tenths back on the power early, opens up the DRS flap. He is going to gain, and that is, who is that? A big mistake from, I think, the Boonster there. Off the exit of Casio, he has no front wing. And the Boonster, unfortunately, with a huge mistake here. Virtual safety car is going to come out on lap 11. Silos dives into pit lane. He's going to use the VSC to take a pit stop. Very well timed by the Sauber and a very smart move from him. Back to green flag racing here on lap 11. Through 130R, the Red Bull still leading 8.3 seconds out front. Osmanian Devil in P3, putting the pressure on the natural. We got a 5-car train here as we're making our way through 130R into Casio Triangle. Anybody gonna potentially be looking for an undercut? That's the question off the exit. Here goes Natural taking the pit stop. He's gonna begin the round of pit stop for your leaders up in the front. Meanwhile, he does get a 10-second speeding penalty into pit lane. And Osmanian Devil is going to be back into that P2 position with Rocket Man right behind him. Did not quite see what happened. My apologies on that. I was kind of looking at a message as we're now carrying our way off a spoon curve down the backstretch. 9.8 seconds separating the two. Osmanian Devil is going to be under an enormous amount of pressure from Rocket Man behind through 130R, heading towards Casio Triangle we go. Into Casio about halfway through the Grand Prix when we come across the line. The Haas and 2 other cars are going to stay out. And there goes Comacopa. He's going to be the second one to jump into pit lane from your race leaders here up in the front. Modern Tide did get the DRS, but he was not able to close enough of the gap down into first turn. Mr. Miller and Raptor KK swapping positions there down the start-finish straight in towards the first turn. Mr. Miller working his way up into the P5 position. After this round of pit stops, we will pull out the position changes here as we're making our way through Dunlop Curve in towards Degner. Rocket Man does have to deal with the 3-second time penalty. Comacopa and Natural, so Natural comes out in front of Comacopa here in that P7 spot. 2.5 is separating them. Rocket Man's going to go for a little down under on the Haas, but he decided not to. And through 200R we go. We're going to carry towards the spoon curve. And here, Modern Tide still following behind. He's about 4/10 off the back of him. And the same with Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller is 4 seconds. Raptor not hanging on to the back of him. Down the back stretch. Modern Tide going to put a lot of pressure on the Racing Bulls in front of him. Through 130R. Now carrying through LB the Goat's going to dive into pit lane. Is Osmanian Devil going to take this train with him as well on lap 14? Here goes the Haas. Here goes Rocket Man. And Modern Tide's going to stay out for one more lap on these medium tires. Or maybe he might be looking at a medium soft. I'm not exactly sure. LB the Goat is going to come out, but where is he going to come out? Is he going to come out in any sort of traffic? He does have some cars in front of him, but no traffic to interfere with his lead here in the Grand Prix. Mr. Miller 3.7 seconds on a set of hard tires, looking to run the medium for the second stint. Natural's going to come out right behind Osmanian Devil, was able to jump out and hang on to that P4 position. Now Rocket Man is going to be under an enormous amount of pressure from the warmed up tires of the Williams behind him in Comacopa. Silos right behind 2.8 seconds on a set of hard tires as well through Dunlop as they come up the corner of turn 7. Somebody made a mistake, and that looked to be an Alpine, I believe a peak hour potentially. Not exactly sure if I am correct on that, or maybe GC Adventure. But in the meantime, Mr. Miller is 3.1 seconds out in behind Modern Tie, and he's actually closing up a little bit, but you got to keep in mind Mr. Miller on a set of hard tires since the beginning of the Grand Prix. Modern Tie on a set of mediums from the beginning of the Grand Prix. Modern Tie going to stay out another lap. Yes, he does. Mr. Miller will continue to stay out as well as we head down the start-finish straight towards the first turn. Natural has caught up to DRS. We got the 4-car chain that we had earlier in the Grand Prix, and then they all started falling off like a bunch of flies, and now they're back together once again. Down the start-finish straight we go, heading towards the first turn. Osmanian Devil's going to be leading Natural into turn 1, and he's going to continue to hang on for the time being. Matthew dives into pit lane to get off his hard tires. LB the Goat trying to put the pressure on in front. He is your current points leader. GC Adventure with the 10-second penalty. And LB the Goat through turn 9. Mr. Miller 2.6. He's starting to really close up on the Mercedes in front of him in regards to the tire difference here between the two cars. Through turn 9 we go, and it looks like Comacopa's lost the tail end of this train. James and Goose is going to get by Matthew here on the exit for Matthew in pit lane. Modern Tie through 130R, the Mercedes currently leading by 2.8 seconds over the Ferrari of Mr. Miller. LB the Goat in that P3 position heading into 130R, and off the exit he goes heading into Casio Triangle now. Modern Tie is going to dive into pit lane, get sideways. Does that put any front wing damage on his car? We will have to check on that off the exit of pit lane. But Mr. Miller is currently going to be leading LB the Goat by 5.7 seconds. Modern Tie, does he have that front end plate on that car here as he comes off of pit lane? Where is he going to come out though? As Osmanian Devil speeding down the start-finish straight, Osmanian Devil is going to clear Modern Tie. And Modern Tie is also going to lose out to Comacopa as well. And he does not have that front right end plate from getting sideways into pit lane. A big mistake side by side between Rocket Man and Osmanian Devil. A little bit of tire banging there in through Snake section. And Osmanian Devil is going to struggle to get back on the power. He's got to get that grass cleaned off those tires quickly. Comacopa 0.4 of a second behind him now as we made our way through Dunlop towards Degner. And now Comacopa in the Williams behind. Trying to find a way to put the pressure on. Osmanian Devil, who's 1.2 seconds off the back of Rocket Man into Spoon. Natural and Rocket Man both with time penalties. Natural has a 10-second. Modern Tie goes a little wide off the exit of Spoon. Miller's going to dive into pit lane. And is he going to come out in front of this train? I don't think so. He's going to come out behind it. And Rocket Man was looking to make a move on natural into turn 16, but off the exit of Casio Triangle we go. And it looks like Rocket Man might get a much better run. Opens up that DRS flap to the inside of the circuit. And they're going to be side by side down into the first turn. And the Racing Bulls will be on the podium into that P2 position. Osmanian Devil, Modern Tie. And guess what? Mr. Miller didn't really lose a whole lot of time there. He's actually going to be in that P7 position on a set of medium tires. So he's in prime position here to gain a lot of spots by the end of this Grand Prix. We got quite a big train now from P2 all the way down into that P8 spot, so about 6 cars. And Mr. Miller is going to be looking to pick his way through on the medium tires compared to the hard runners all in front of him. Now up the hill into the hairpin and down into the braking zone off the exit of the hairpin of 11 through 200R. Going to carry towards Spoon we go. Osmanian Devil is under a lot of pressure from Comacopa in towards Spoon. Natural here, 6/10 off the back of Rocket Man. Osmanian Devil's fallen 1.3 seconds back. The Ferrari of Mr. Miller going through the inside of Modern Tie, and he's going to be looking to complete the move down to 130R. Osmanian Devil is holding off Comacopa. Comacopa may be looking for a move into Casio. No, he is not going to be able to complete anything. Off the exit of Casio Triangle, down the start-finish straight we go. We got quite a bit of battle in front of us. 1.5 seconds separating the Haas from the Williams, or the Haas from the Mercedes, but there goes Comacopa around the outside of Osmanian Devil into the first turn. Mr. Miller was peaking, but it looked like that got closed off by the Haas of Osmanian Devil. Through the snake section here of turn 4, now into the Annie-Bank corner of turn 6, and we're going to make our way up Dunlop curve and now towards Degner. And through Degner curve we go, and off the exit of turn 9, 5 cars all within a half a second of each other. Awfully close racing. And then here comes Mr. Miller and through 200R. And now into Spoon. LB the Goat just out front by himself, chilling, enjoying the scenery around the Japanese Grand Prix, while the rest of the cars behind him are all fighting and vying for the podium spot. As Mr. Miller is looking side by side with Osmanian Devil down around the outside of 130R. We're still side by side between the two. Into the braking zone, and oh, a big collision between Miller and Osmanian Devil. Not exactly sure what happened there, and that just caused a massive collision between the two cars. As now Miller, no damage from him, but everything to Osmanian Devil. And Rocket Man here is going to be in that P3 position. And now he might be okay to get onto a podium spot here, as Natural still needs to find a lot of time. And now through Spoon we go, and off the exit down the back stretch, heading towards 130R, and we've had some collisions happen throughout the Grand Prix. Mr. Miller on the mediums, and he's going to go through the inside of 130R up into that P4 position, now into Casio Triangle. And he's going to be looking for a podium spot here at the Japanese Grand Prix. Off the exit of Casio Triangle. Down the start finish straight we go. A fastest lap to Mr. Miller here in the Ferrari. As now he's going to be looking to close down the gap to the cars in front of him. And through the first turn, Rocket Man here still out front in that P2 spot on natural as they're making their way through the Annie Bank corner and up through Dunlop heading towards Degner. And this has been quite the eventful Grand Prix here in Japan, as now we're heading through Degner curve. Mr. Miller, peak hour, is gonna overtake Osmanian Devil. Osmanian Devil is not able to get that front wing change, or he did, but I'm wondering exactly what he's looking to do here as he switches out his tires onto a set of red wall tires. He's gonna be looking for the fastest lap. Natural here trying to hang on to that second of Rocket Man. Mr. Miller is closing that gap behind him though. The medium tires definitely showing the pace difference between the yellow wall tires and the white wall tires, as now they're making their way through 130R towards Casio Triangle. Into the braking zone. No change in positions off the exit of Casio. Rocket Man gets a great getaway as Natural will still get the DRS, but he's not close enough to attempt to make a move down into the first turn. About 7 laps to go here into the S curves of 3, 4, 5, now 6. Down the hill, up the hill we go into turn 7 of Dunlop, and we've got Degner of 8 and then 9 right in front of us. And Mr. Miller, you can see from the helicopter view how much time he's really gaining to the cars in front of him. And through turn 11 into the hairpin, or through turn 10 into the hairpin of 11, and off the exit, we're now going to carry our speed through 200R. And then into Spoon. Off the exit of Spoon we go. Komakopa 2.3. Modern Thai is left the session. Wonder if that is intentional or not. Let me send him an invite. Sent him an invite back to the session. And off the exit of Casio Triangle. Natural still outside the second. Mr. Miller still putting a lot of pressure on. And through the S curves, Mr. Miller still trying to get by the Mercedes in front of him. He doesn't really have to put too much pressure on them. He does have them both within their pen margins, but I'm sure he would like to end up on the podium on circuit. Silos caught up to the back of Modern Thai, who is just getting back into the session here. Silos is going to get by him. Komakopa MP5, 2.4 seconds back. Mr. Miller is 6/10 of a second behind Natural. Natural's not going to have DRS. Modern Thai and Raptor are fighting for position here of P8. Modern Thai is back in his car. Now he's going to have a lot of work to do to get back up through the grid. And here comes Mr. Miller, 3/10 back on the back diffuser of the Mercedes into the braking zone of Casio. And now this is where Rocket Man wants to take advantage of the fact that these two cars are going to be battling down the start-finish straight. Rocket Man has a 3-second time penalty. He needs to open up that gap. Mr. Miller down to the inside using the DRS, ERS to his advantage into first turn, and now he's going to be looking to put the pressure on Rocket Man. He's 1.5 seconds back. He does not have a penalty. Modern Tie is going to get by Raptor into the first turn. Now Modern Tie's got Silos right in front of him. He's going to be looking to chase him down. Natural here is making their way through Dunlop into Degner. Mr. Miller down to 1.2 seconds. Got about 5 laps to go here at Japan. Into turn 11, the hairpin. And we got a virtual safety car. Not exactly sure why this has come out. Let's slide through all drivers here. Everybody seems to be going straight forward. So that is a weird virtual safety car here. And we are back to green flag. That is LK in the pit lane. He's going to be now officially a lap down. And down the start-finish straight we go. Mr. Miller and Natural are going to be separated. Mr. Miller has lost quite a bit of time there on that restart. Modern Tie MP7 caught up to the Sauber in front of him. As we make our way through the snake section, off the corner of turn 5 into the anti-bank of 6, now Dunlop curve right in front. As we're going to head up the hill towards Degner. And we got 2 cars here vying for position of P6. Everybody else is not within DRS of range of each other for the time being, so we are going to stick with these 2 as we head into the hairpin. And off the exit we go, and Modern Tie is going to have a better exit on the Sauber in front through 200R. And it looks like Matthew's going to dive into pit lane. Now into Spoon between the 2 cars. Got 0.4 of a second off the exit of Spoon. Down the long back stretch heading towards 130R. We still got quite a bit of cars kind of close to each other up towards the front. Mr. Miller still within 2 seconds of Rocket Man. A small mistake from Rocket Man can cause a problem there. Modern Tie still missing that right end front plate. Through Casio Triangle we go. He is going to get the DRS and the ERS. The Sauber is going to go back and forth across the track and defend to the outside. And it looks like the Mercedes behind. Swerving down the start-finish straight. As we fall behind them, heading through Dunlop we go. Mistakes from James and Bruce through 200R. Modern Tide's going to be looking to close up to the back of him here into the hairpin. He's getting a nice front lock up off the exit. Here comes the Mercedes. 0.3 of a second back, putting a lot of pressure on the Sauber in front of him through 200R, heading towards Spoon. Now into Spoon we go. Is the Mercedes going to be able to overtake the Sauber with that right front wing damage on these hard tires off the exit of Spoon? He's still hanging on to him within 0.3 of a second, heading towards Casio Triangle. Is Modern Tie going to be looking to make a move now, or is he going to be waiting for the next start-finish straight? He's going to get the DRS around the outside into Casio Triangle, nearly side-by-side between the 2. Off the exit of turn 18, Modern Tie gets on the power early, gets extremely loose, and is going to compromise himself there off the exit of Casio Triangle. And unfortunately, Modern Tie is going to lose another position out to Raptor KK. And now Natural 1.4 seconds off the back of Mr. Miller. The medium tires are starting to fall off for the Ferrari, and here comes the Mercedes on the penultimate lap, 1.7 seconds back. He does have a 10-second time penalty. Komakopa will be able to overtake him into that P4 position. But off the exit of turn 11, now through 200R we go. LB the Goat just cruising out front as he's about to make his way through 130R. And that will take him towards the final lap here in Japan. Natural 1.5 seconds back from Mr. Miller here of the Ferrari. Modern Tides catching back up to Raptor as he made a big mistake trying to overtake Silos there by trying to get a better run off the exit of Casio. He is now going to fall down. And heading through 130R we go. And it looks like Raptor's trying to catch up to Silos as well. So we have begun the final lap between your front about 4 or 5 cars here. Silos now going to make his way through the start-finish line to begin his final lap. He's got a lot of pressure coming to him. And here comes Modern Tide down the start-finish straight. Raptor goes defensive to the inside. Still side-by-side. A little bit of a wheel bang between the two. And Raptor's going to still be defensive here to the Mercedes in front. And it looks like the two cars are going to get out of the first turn. And now we're into the snake section. And off the anti-bank corner and up Dunlop curve we go. Raptor under pressure from the Mercedes into Degner. And the Mercedes makes a fake and puts the move on the McLaren there in through Degner curve down into turn 9. And off the exit of the hairpin, Modern Tie is 2.4 seconds back from Silos. In the meantime, LB the Goat is going to win your Grand Prix here in Japan. And Rocket Man making his way into the final few corners. Mr. Miller, though, needs to get within that 3 seconds if he wants that point. And here comes Rocket Man. Here comes Mr. Miller. No. And it looks like Rocket Man's going to take that P3 position. Miller runs out of fuel. Miller runs out of fuel and lost it to natural, but there was a 10-second penalty to natural. Kopo will come home in 5th, and Silos will bring it home in P6 with. And wow, Komakopa actually dropped down to P8, and it looks like Modern Tie gets P6 or Silos P5. Modern Tie is 6, Raptor 7, Komakopa 8. Peak Hour is now going to make his way towards Casio Triangle, along with Osmanian Devil as well. And across the start-finish line we go. And there you have it, guys. That was your Japanese Grand Prix here for the Pro Tier. Another wonderful Grand Prix. Go through the grid order, or the final finishing positions real quick. So there you have it, folks. You got LB the Goat up top, Rocket Man in P2, Mr. Miller 3rd, Natural 4th, Silos 5th, Modern Tie 6th, Raptor 7th, Komakopa 8th, 9th is Peak Hour, 10th, Osmanian Devil, okay, and 11th, Jameson Goose 12th, Matthew 13th, 14th, GC Adventure, the Boonster 15th, and Bonga will round out your grid of 16. Well, there you have it, folks. That is your Pro Tier here at the Japanese Grand Prix in Suzuka Circuit. And next week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, they will be taking on the Miami Grand Prix. In the meantime, I am the Johnny Damon. It's been a pleasure. I hope you all have a fantastic work week, and I will see you next week in Miami.